It's the busiest time of year, so just a heads up. Ooh, that feels better, huh? Let's get you guys all up here in the shade. You want to get in the shade too, or I'll scoot over a little bit so you and Doc can get in the shade. So, where we're at, you guys see the Hilton that we just passed, right? Believe it or not, this is the smallest Hilton in the world right here. It's 63 rooms. The only way they let them build a Hilton here. Looks like a bunch of little houses stuck together, but it's not. This is like Disney Imagineering. This is just one Hilton right here. But it is the smallest Hilton in the world. Right next to it's Treasury Street. At one point, Treasury Street was the most narrow street in the U.S. at about 6'1". It's not anymore. Both those buildings are gone now. So this is the route that once per year, the Sitiata or Spanish gold pavement would come and come straight down that alley, all the way down to St. George Street. All the way down to St. George Street to the house on the left, which is the Pinion-Peck House. You guys can gather up a little bit if you want. Where that's the home of the Spanish treasurer. You guys can come up a little closer if you want. The home of the Spanish treasurer. Now, one 8-year period, the Spanish government didn't pay them for 8 years in a row. So when the money does show up, they're really concerned that somebody's going to take it. So on either side of that road, all the way down to St. George Street, are 19-foot tall stone walls. So it's just wide enough for a couple guys with a chest to go down, but not wide enough to rob on either side. So this was a popular portrait, later photograph. You'd stretch your arms across the most narrow street in the U.S. They take your picture, but you guys would shake hands here in the middle and they take their picture. And again, those are on Google Image later, including before and after pictures. You know, a lady told me the other day, she goes, you should really warn people before you tell a sad story. So I'm warning you guys, this next story is a real tearjerker, so I want you to brace yourselves, okay? Here we go down to here. Gathered up right in here real quick. Can't gather up on that side, I think we want to eat here.
Bye.
You can eat there later though if you want. You gather up over here on this side.
Stop her. I know you want to eat.
Alright. They're not moving. Alright, come on over to this side. If you stand on that side, I think you want to eat here. You can eat there later though if you want. I'm not sure if all these motorcycles are working together or not. What do you think? You know what? During the first Spanish period, this house where Harry's is at was home to the richest merchant family in town, the De Porras family. Whenever the British took over, nobody's happy about it. They spent generations building up these homesteads, only had them taken away from them, and maybe or maybe not they're going to receive adequate compensation. And most people just swear they're never coming back here because of the feelings that this has caused. The youngest daughter, Catalina, makes it back here 22 years later, but when she gets back here, the British are using her home as a gunpowder magazine. They have a deal with the Spanish king to continue using it as a gunpowder magazine. She petitions the Spanish king. It takes 4 years of constant petitioning. Finally, she gets him out of the house. She then proceeds to spend her whole fortune and then half of the husband's fortune redoing this house and dies a year later. At least she got it done, huh? You know, people always want to know, how old was she? Almost 40. Oh. I used to tell people life was short and sweet back then, but now I'll just tell you it was short. Some nobility lived longer. Pedro Menéndez lived at 55, but it would be like being 100 today. And the good news is they probably didn't know any differently back then. All right, let's step down to the corner. We'll come check out some more stuff. I hope you guys aren't too sad now. Look like you do me. Excuse me. Zapraszam. Again. top part's almost over. I really appreciate all you guys being so engaged today. It's not always the case. So you know what? On that note, sometimes people will tell me that this is the highlight of the tour. Some of our visitors from larger cities, as I point out our one and only skyscraper over there, such that it is. Built in 1927 as a bank building, finished in 1928. Didn't get a lot of use, as you can imagine, because in 1929, the stock market crashed. You know what? After they built that building, though, they passed an ordinance here in town that no building could be taller than 2.5 stories tall. So that's why the whole landscape isn't marred with a bunch of tall buildings today, and why the Hilton as well is so small. So let's do a 180 towards the Bridge Alliance over here. Same year, 1927. They're going to build a new Venice on the other side of that bridge right there, just like in Las Vegas. Canals, gondolas, a copy of Venice. Ambitious project, right? Venice is said to be the city of lions, and so that was to be the bridge to the new Venice. So what happened? Same thing, stock market crash. All they get done is the bridge part of it. The guy who's in charge of that project, David Davis, that's the same guy that built Davis Islands in Tampa, he loses everything. Does he commit suicide? No! He gets a life insurance policy, he goes on a trip to Europe, and he falls overboard. He falls out of a porthole that was this big, and the only witness was a former mistress. That'll be another happy story.
He should have waited until 1955 because the stock market came up again.
Absolutely. You know what? It goes up, it goes down. I joke with people that the stock market crash didn't get rid of all the millionaires, just the new ones.
Yeah, the fortunate people are who bought it.
Let's come over here and check this out. I'm going to go up there and read these off to you guys. This is a timeline of Florida. St. Augustine. We're going to start with this one right here. Discovered in 1513 by Ponce de Leon. Then it would have been somewhere between here and Jacksonville where he landed at. Founded in 1565 by Pedro Menéndez. Ceded in 1762 to England. Restored in 1784 to Spain. Purchased in 1821 by the U.S. And this is like the Louisiana purchase, about $5 million at the time. It was a good deal. Renaissance, 1885 by Henry Blackner. We're going to talk about this the last Thursday. A last plaque dedicated to all the young men who lost their lives in World War I. Or as they put it at the time, evil. Wishful thinking, right? You guys will look over that statue on the pedestal over there. That is a life-size statue of Juan Ponce de Leon. You can see this roundabout where the trucks are parked today. Up until the 1930s, this was the yacht base in here. So you could roll your boat up almost to the steps of that building over there. So again, that's all that building. Whenever it floods, you can't really be surprised the water is much closer than this. All right, let's head on down into the plaza. Come check out some stuff down there. Okay, let's see if we can get across here. Yeah, every time we choose the microphone, the city like locks off and then you are keyboard. It's an occupational hazard. Yeah. It's better down here in the park.